10 o'clock in the morning now, so let's start. Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Dr. Thong Kai Shin. I'm a psychiatrist working in Hospital Putrajaya. So the topic of my presentation today is optimal health during pandemic. So without further delay, let us start. I have some outputs to show you. Okay. So what is optimal health and how can we achieve or maintain it? This is the outline of today's presentation. We will reflect on our own well-being, identify our strengths and recognize early warning signs of stress, strategies to cope with stress, developing partnership with others, and also developing health plans to maintain optimal health. Have you ever asked yourself these questions? What does it mean to be healthy to you? Does it only mean free from illness, or there is more to it? Are you happy with how you are now? Or are there any areas of health that need improvement or change? Optimal health is a holistic approach to health. It consists of these 6 aspects. Not just the physical health, but also the mental or emotional health, the social, occupational, intellectual, and spiritual aspects of health. Many of us understand well about physical health. We're used to monitor our physical health and take early action when it deteriorates. What about other aspects of health that I just mentioned? Are they being put aside or sidelined until it gets accumulated and affects us negatively? So I would like to go through all these aspects of health with you, and while I'm doing that, I would like you to reflect on your own well-being. I think we do not need to talk much on physical health, so let us go to mental or emotional health. Mental and emotional health includes the acceptance of our own emotions, our ability to handle the emotions and behavior related to it. It is also our ability to cope with stress emotionally. The social aspects of health involves our relationships with others, such as family, friends, and also people in the community. The quality of our relationship and the ability to evaluate the social support that we have around us, especially in times of stressful period, for example, the current pandemic situation. The occupational aspects of health is not just related to workplace, but also all the other activities in our lives, such as our self-care activities and activities we do during our free time. As for the intellectual aspects of health, it is our ability to think, focus, learn, solve problems and difficulties, and also how well we understand ourselves, the world we live in, and the challenges in our lives. Finally, the spiritual aspects of health looks into meaning and purpose of our lives, the extent to which our belief is consistent with the belief and values we hold. So to all of you out there listening to me, do you think you gain greater understanding about optimal health and get to reflect on your own well-being? So bringing us back to the present situation, how has the coronavirus pandemic affected you? How are you dealing with the ongoing pandemic? COVID-19 has created tremendous stress and resulted in changes in our lives, economics, and health. Some of us may feel helpless because of the uncertainty of how long the pandemic will last and how this pandemic will play out. Many of us worry of being infected by the virus. Our routine has been affected, and that includes working schedule, exercise, and social activities because of the implementation of social distancing, MCO, and etc. Those who got infected or in close contact with COVID positive persons need to undergo at least 2 weeks of quarantine. Some went jobless and suffered from financial difficulties. So you see, in short, this pandemic has significantly affected all aspects of our health, hasn't it? In times like this, a focus on optimal health is all the more critical, and actions to achieve and maintain optimal health should begin now. So what can we do? To begin with, we can actually start identifying our strength and vulnerability because they can affect our health, and it is closely linked to stress and strategies to cope with stress. Each and every one of us have different strengths and vulnerabilities that makes us either able to handle stress effectively or vice versa. Bear in mind, there are times when our strength can become a vulnerability factor to us. You may ask, how so? Well, an example to describe it is a patient with diabetes who is good at cooking, especially sweet desserts, can be a vulnerability to him or herself. We can look into strengths in terms of personal qualities. Now, personal qualities, recognizing it does not mean showing off, but it is for us to use it when necessary. Can you think of any yourself? Sometimes it is difficult for us to identify our personal qualities. You may ask help from those who know you, such as friends, families, or colleagues. Examples of personal qualities could be considerate, caring, optimistic, funny, or etc. Secondly, we can look into strength in terms of environmental strength. The strength of environment is the available resources that exist beyond our personal reach that can help us to achieve our goals. For example, our occupation, our education, the community that we lived in, our religion, family, friends, or sometimes even pets. Right. Talents, it's something that you are good at. It may also be something that you have done well in the past but have stopped doing. For example, playing certain musical instruments, cooking, gardening, drawing, or painting. Interest. We are more likely to pursue a goal passionately when we have an interest in it. So you see, if we plan our coping strategies in line and compatible with our talents and interests, we are more likely to achieve our goals. And that is our strength. So after looking into strength, we look now into vulnerability. Vulnerability is a factor that puts us at risk. It doesn't necessarily mean weakness, but it can be a challenge to us. When identifying vulnerabilities, we can also look into it in terms of personal qualities, just like strength. So ask yourself, are you someone who is too nice, too accommodating, too honest, or do you have difficulty making decisions in life? Secondly, are there any genetic factor? For example, family history of mood disorders such as depression or anxiety, or physical illness such as diabetes mellitus or hypertension. Now, this is because the likelihood of one getting the illness is higher if one has family members who has the illness. The environment can also contribute to a person's vulnerabilities. For example, psychosocial stressors such as loss of job or divorce. Biochemical changes in the brain that happens during stressful period contributes to one vulnerability as well. Right, so stress. Stress actually can be categorized into positive stress and negative stress. Now, you know that stress is positive when you can manage it well or work towards a positive outcome. Positive stress motivates us to move forward, increased happiness, and hope in life. Negative stress, it's the other way around. It's when you can't control it or only have limited control over it. Be it positive or negative stress, it is important for us to recognize our own early warning sign of stress, to monitor it and take early action. This is because stress increases likelihood that we will have symptoms of illness or disturbances in the other aspects of our health, more so if we have significant vulnerability factors. Early warning sign is the first sign that we are in danger of getting our health compromised. Early warning signs could be physical, psychological, or behavioral symptoms. So these are some of the examples. Physical symptoms of stress such as headache, stomach upset, muscle pain, sweating, or shivering. Psychological symptoms such as oversensitive, not motivated. Behavioral symptoms such as self-withdrawn, you talk less, neglecting personal hygiene, or having some other unhealthy behaviors such as smoking or drinking alcohol. Okay, we now move on to strategies to cope with stress. Strategies to cope with stress are skills, activities, or behavior that we use to deal with stressful situations. We often develop strategies without realizing it, and may later realize that not all of those strategies are effective in the long run. Coping strategies helps to resolve problems and reduce feelings of stress, but there are certain strategies that may help us feel better for a short period of time, such as eating, smoking, or drinking alcohol. But these strategies, if we use them every time to cope with stress, it can be dangerous and it's maladaptive. So you see, there is maladaptive and adaptive coping strategies. Here's some example of adaptive coping strategies that you can adopt to maintain and achieve optimal health during the current pandemic. First of all, adequate self-care. Now, think of this pandemic as a marathon, not a sprint. Take your breaks when you need it. Take time to rest. Remember to eat healthy, well-balanced diet. Drink enough water. Maintain regular sleeping patterns and exercise whenever possible. Now, secondly, keep in touch regularly with others, such as your friends or family. Open up to someone that you trust or comfortable with. Allow yourself to talk about your worries, because remember, this is a difficult time for everyone. Sharing is a way for us to help each other. Next, practice positive self-talk. It is not helpful to criticize yourself or others during this period of time. Instead, tell yourself that you're doing a good job and that you're doing all the best that you can. Don't assume the worst all the time. Having long-term optimistic view can help to reduce anxiety and stress. Perform simple relaxation techniques such as deep breathing exercise regularly. It helps us to relax our mind and body. Stretching exercise can help to ease muscle tension, one of the physical signs of stress. Now, in addition, it is useful to note that what is in your control and what is not. Things that you can control are things that we are doing here or now. Your job or task on hand. Focus on what you can control and engage with what you are doing at the present moment. Do not stress yourself too much over what you can't control. I hope I'm not going too fast and everyone is still following me. Okay, because I am now going to touch on emotional-based and problem-based coping strategies. Emotional-based coping strategies involve strategies that reduce the negative emotional responses associated with stress, such as fear and anxiety. Examples of such strategies used are distractions, such as keeping yourselves occupied to take your mind off the issues by listening to music, or simple relaxation activities such as deep breathing exercise can be useful too. Problem solving or problem-based coping strategies are problem-focused and is aimed to remove problems that cause the stress. One may need to learn new skills here, for example, time management skills, financial planning skills, problem-solving skills, or parenting skills. Next, we look into steps in problem solving or the principles of SMARTER goals. The word SMARTER, SMARTER, it's a mnemonic that helps us to make goal setting easier to tackle. Now, SMARTER goal setting are goals that are specific as meaningful, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. E stands for evaluate and R stands for readjust your approach if necessary. Now, all too often we tend to set our goals but not put any type of measurement to them. When we don't, it's easier for the mind to trick us into putting things off, thinking that we have come further along than we really are. Developing partnership with others. It's also another way to maintain and achieve optimal health. This is important because people in your life can play an important role here. Collaborative partners are people in your life whom you can develop partnership with. They are the ones who is available to help or the ones you need to find and mobilize to help. For example, your family, friends, colleague, or even your healthcare professionals. Think about your relationship with them. What kind of support and how often the support can be given to you. In short, identify health strategies with these key partnerships. Developing health plans. This is my last bit of presentation. Right, what are these health plans? These health plans are plans that gives us a better sense of control in maintaining our well-being. The first health plan that we should have is a daily health plan, consisting of the basics such as adequate rest, regular exercise, taking well-balanced and healthy diet. You may add into the list and personalize your own daily health plans. The second health plan is the plan we develop during stressful period, when we are already experiencing early warning signs of stress. In this plan, there's a need for us to activate our collaborative partnership and all our strategies to cope with stress. The third health plan is an action plan during an episode of illness. An episode of illness here can bring different meaning to each individual, especially when you are now aware that health consists of 6 aspects, not just the physical aspect. Now, this health plan helps us to get the support we need, such as treatment for an illness or psychosocial supports that we need. Finally, after an episode of illness resolve, do reflect back on what happened and review the previous 2 health plans to improve them. Alright, so that's it. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I think I do have some time to take some of your questions. I can see some of you are here. Shima, hello, good morning. Nora Fiza and Aruna, do you have any question about optimal health? Okay. Thank you, Nora Fiza, for your comment and respond. Hello, hi Lee. Did you just come in? Because I have already finished my presentation on optimal health during pandemic. This is the outline of my presentation just now. Do you have any questions? You may ask, and I will try my best to respond to it. All right. So I think that's it. I will end my presentation today. Thank you very much for your attention and see you again.